Good evening, everyone. I wanted to come back and speak with everyone about the corruption and the abuse that many of us in South Carolina are enduring through the court system, through our own lawyers, which is my situation, through the law enforcement center, and even through the agencies such as DSS that are in place to help protect people like women and children who can't protect themselves at times. I have actually been in abuse situations more than once, and I have been in abuse counseling. I had abuse counseling from 2006 until 2009, close to 2009, with the Safe Harbor highly educated counselors. So to say that I wouldn't know what abuse is would be funny, because in 3.5 years, I can promise you that I learned definitely what abuse is, and I'm still enduring it. And my ex, of course, he portrays himself as an angel. He portrays himself because he's very quiet spoken. When I met him in school, I didn't know much about him. Honestly, ever. I only knew that he was quiet. I only knew that he barely spoke. So, while I was in the abuse counseling, I was taught maybe I should decide to pick somebody that I normally would not naturally, choose, as a partner. Maybe someone a little different, because I had went through situations that were rough with men that they admitted, basically the things they were going to do, they didn't hide behind their sunglasses, so to speak, and portray that they were just, innocent. And anyhow, when me and my ex bought this home, me and him both signed the deed, and he's angered about that. He became angered about that. I don't know, it was shortly after getting the home. And what happened was, we had went to the bank and tried to get either a home loan on the home, which is a double wide manufactured home, and they was not going to do that. So the reason was because my credit was not up to par, and they said the only way they could do it is if we took the home and put it in just his name. Okay, I could sense that was not a good idea. And I told him that no, I'm not gonna sign the home over to you and put me and the children at risk of being homeless, And let me explain that. His mother has a tendency to do that to people, and so does he. So anyhow, the emotional and the mental abuse was done mainly by text messages and kind of like a silent thing. He and I usually never had arguments, at all around the kids. we argued through text messages, and the tension would build, and you could feel it. And, he and I both stayed away from each other, and he would be texting me, and it got to the point that, as soon as I loaded my daughter up, all of my kids or whatever, or just the youngest one, he would purposely text me repeatedly. And it became a habit that he would text me. And I had to break myself from even looking at the phone, because I believe he was trying to cause me to wreck. And that's my belief. And there was another party that literally witnessed what I was trying to show them, that every time I got in the car, he would text and text and text and text and have an argument going the whole time and trying to get me to text while I'm driving. And I finally had to start turning my phone off. So my thought was, maybe he's literally trying to cause me to wreck, and he don't care if the child is in the car, or if my children are in the car and we all die. Honestly, a person that does that, it became repetitive. Like, it was all the time, every single time. And, he would stop as soon as he knew I was fixing to arrive, and act like he was asleep, okay? He wasn't asleep. It was a put on. Because within 10 minutes of him knowing I would arrive, he would stop texting, and he was asleep. So anyway, the emotional and mental abuse began like this, and it was all the time, because of this loan that we couldn't take out unless I signed the home over to just him. And I told him, no, I'm not going to sign the home over to you. You could tell, basically, for 2 years, he was in a bitter rage about that. Basically, I just ignored it as best I could. Oh, goodness. Let me think. He basically, like I said, he's exactly like his mother. She had done the same thing to people. She had done stuff to her ex-husband when she lived at the beach that was very inappropriate. But, I'm the inappropriate person here. So anyhow, money is the concern here with him. And his protections is what his issues is. Of himself, not of anything else. Before he left, he got to where he would not even help me with hardly anything. It got to the point that my dad would actually have to come over and do specific things that he normally would have done, like fixing my van that was messed up. He didn't care. He knew that my van had no air. He knew that that meant I had no heat or defrost. I had heat in the back for my little girl, and he did not care. He went and bought him a little over $11,000 Honda, and he has a truck that his father gave to him that's practically new, and that's listed as like a $50 gift. Anyhow, I don't know. When we split up, before the real abuse happened that I learned of against my child, he basically was trying to trade me my child for the home. He wanted my child, and he said he would give me the home. And that was the most hilarious, pathetic thing I had ever heard in my lifetime. He obviously don't know me, But anyway, this is his tendency. He told me his wife was basically homeless. So that meant that he threw her out into the road, and she was living in her vehicle. Now, he said this to me. He told me this. He had no compassion when he said these things. None at all. I mean, it was just like she was trash. You just toss them out in the road. And see, that was why I knew that if I signed the home over to him, that immediately following, and it was like a tension that you could feel that, why would he be angry? Why? I mean, really, if I said I don't want to, sign the deed over to just you, why would he become bitter? I mean, I already knew he had put his ex-wife out into the road. She was living in her car. He had no compassion. So his intent was to have me sign the home over. We wasn't getting along. And he was going to kick me out with my kids, except he was going to take my daughter, my youngest daughter, if he could prove fraternity. Anyhow, he had no compassion, like I said, for his ex-wife. I mean, I learned this from listening to the things he said, how he said it. He called her doctor, and he claims to her doctor that her medicine needed to be cut. Yeah, to me, he admitted that he was eating those pills with her. So supposedly, she committed suicide. Supposedly. Yet, I and others don't believe that story at all. My ex actually spoke with an extreme, harsh, I don't know how to put it, extreme tone of voice about his ex to me, and it just didn't sound right. And I've talked to other people that do not believe that she committed suicide. I confronted him, and you know what? He sat there with a straight face, no answers. So when I asked him if he had harmed her, he looked at me, straight face, no expression, no comments whatsoever. So, I don't think it was a mind game. I think something really happened, but, that's my opinion. Because of all the things he had said, the things he had done, and his lack of compassion for the things that he was putting her through. Okay? Lost that paper, excuse me. Let me see where I'm at right now. I wanted to point that out just because that is one of the reasons, before the abuse happened, which he was abusing emotionally and mentally me. And, I tolerated it, because I wasn't leaving my home. That was his intent. He hoped that I would leave the home or something, or I would sign it. His real hope was that I would sign the home over to him so he could throw us out and take my daughter. And let me explain more further with that. Back in December of 2017, my lawyer forced me by intimidation that I would agree or else to his order. And that was never something that I willfully agreed to. The lawyer and my second lawyer, I had two lawyers because both of them served my ex. My lawyer, the second one, and the guardian had lied them. They disregarded fully the forensic interview that they both said would be done. Yet they disregarded it, and unsupervised visits wasn't supposed to be allowed until that forensic interview was completed, and it was skipped over, and a 1-bedroom was appropriate for my child to be in with this man. Basically, my lawyer removed the abuse from the case. The case literally started as a criminal offense. It should have went to criminal court for an order of protection, and I ended up in family court. I had a lawyer that asked for an order of protection, and he supposedly asked for child support, and I'm pretty sure I have the paperwork to show he did. But for some reason, the judge just sat there, never ordering child support. I was never allowed to ask for the paternity test like I was told I could do by DSS before he got a visit. That did not happen. I don't know. The abuse, literally was removed from the entire case by my second lawyer. It was set up for my ex to have his way to harm me fully. That was the intent of my lawyer. That's what I feel my ex possibly, which deeply I know, paid him bribe money or some kind of money or whatever we did to bribe him to do this, because my second lawyer wouldn't have been the way he was from the start. But he was not working for me from the start. He showed me that in the first hearing that he attended with me. And, I know the kind of work he has done in the past. And he truly harmed me and my children as badly as he could. And the sad thing is, he has children, he has grandchildren, and obviously it doesn't matter to him as long as it's not his children or grandchildren. My lawyer accidentally let me know my ex's intentions, his further intentions, which that's great because I'm ready and I'm prepared. The order was a forced and set up hearing. I came there with no knowledge of what was going to happen, and I was fully distressed. I was fully intimidated. I was fully just in shock, literally. At how he profusely yelled at me. It wasn't just the normal yelling. It was like to scare me. And it's unbelievable that, you pay someone $6,400 in cash and they treat you like trash because the other party has more money. And, he informed me that I probably shouldn't have even reported the criminal sexual conduct, first degree, because I didn't have the money to beat him. Prior, my ex, that was his initial statement, was money would win. Money would win. He was backed 100% until the end. He didn't care what report was made. So anyhow, I don't agree whatsoever with this order. So, I have to send my child into a situation where I have to worry about her every single visit. Hold on one second. I don't have my papers in order. I'm sorry. Since the beginning of this forced order, at first, his wife, was fully disrespecting me, constantly messaging me, constantly harassing, constantly saying things inappropriately to me. She was putting herself in the place of him to cause very much upset and drama. That's all she's about. So anyway, I don't know if he did that just because he couldn't do anything. I mean, he always talked to his ex-wife. His ex-wife. His ex-wife died, but the one before that had his other children is what I mean. He always talked to her. I never got in the middle of that ever, because that wasn't my place. I had that much respect that I said no. That's between y'all two. And regardless if she disliked me, what she disliked me, but that was her choice. Excuse me. I don't know what her problem was, but it's okay with me because I tried in every way to be respectful, to not get in the middle of their children, because that was their children. And I had my own children and I had my own life, and yes, I cared about his kids. I cared about them more than he knows, but that's okay. I care about them more than they even know. But with the situation, the whole family, when my daughter reported criminal sexual conduct, first degree, the entire family formed a circle around him to protect him. Not one of them came to me and wanted to know what my baby girl had said, what had happened. Not one of them cared. All they cared about was, let's cover this up. We got to cover this up. Let's get the money. We got money. Good. I'm glad y'all have money, but I have a mouth, and it will not stop until something is done. I really sincerely cannot believe not one person in that family had the decency to ask me what happened. Why they would sit there and just not listen. And pretend, oh, he wouldn't do that. Okay, he puts on that act, and yes, that is the normal act. It's the one that you least expect. I trusted him with all of my children, sadly. It's the one that has no criminal record whatsoever, not even a traffic ticket. And that fits his description perfectly. And, folks, I still, when I look at him, after spending 7 years with him, it's hard for me to believe what I know in my heart happened. It's hard for me. I don't look at him and think It's hard. All I can say is I know what happened. But when I look at him and what he presents, it's so different than what my child told me he did. My child said that I hurt my ladybug and it made my belly hurt. And her vaginal area was very raw. He wanted to say that there was dried feces on my child. A lot, because obviously he was claiming that I left dried feces on my child after I brought my child to him freshly washed, freshly bathed, she had Desitin on, to make sure she didn't get a rash. She was fresh and clean each and every time. And that's all he could come up with. But my child told me, Dada hurt my ladybug, and it made my belly hurt. So, no, it wasn't dried feces. My baby was clean. And yeah, lots of times babies do get pee-pee diapers filled, and it does happen. People can deny it if they want to, but yeah, we've all had a child have a heavy pee-pee diaper every now and then. But my child never had rawness from a pee-pee diaper. And my daughter didn't go over there with a pee-pee diaper or a poopy diaper. And her disclosure to me had nothing to do with poop, as his claim was. And I guess he can't understand the difference of Dada hurt my ladybug and it made my belly hurt. And then that's disgusting. But anyway, and then him trying to make up this claim that she had dried feces all over her the last 3 visits. Really? Anyway. He creates his lies to try to make it look like I'm not working with him when he forfeits his visits. I am following a forced order and I am in an appeal. I do not agree with this order. I never did. He should not have visitation, number 1. The forensic interview was never done, was it now? No, I mean, I got proof of that. I mean, prove it. Where's that? It wasn't done. It was disregarded. It was nothing. So anyway, basically, I follow the order as it's written. He declined his midweek Thursday visit over a year ago, and now he's trying to claim that he's going to force it back. Well, that's a forfeiture after a year. I'm sorry, Mr. You know who you are. So my lawyer basically let me know everything that was being colluded, the colluded act, after the order, what he was planning to do to create all this bull crap. I've been in preparation because they intended for me to be homeless right after we had this forced hearing, because my lawyer did his intimidation and his stuff in private. He didn't do it in the public eye. Obviously, criminals don't do that. So anyway, they intended for me to be homeless almost immediately after that hearing. And just after that hearing, my lawyer right that very day said he would not be taking any more of my emails or answering any more of my questions. I have proof of that. So, there's a lot of the order that I don't understand, but I didn't have him to explain it to me. So anyway, but I have been in preparation for everything I know that's being colluded together right now, and it has been for a long time. And but anyway, it didn't work out for him to make me homeless right after that hearing, because I did appeal, which he's very angry about. His lawyer even tried to rule me in and say that I was refusing to sell the home. Yet I have an active appeal, and he knew that. And he was actually taking it into a court that didn't have jurisdiction whatsoever. But basically, he was going to make me homeless just as he did his ex-wife. And then he was going to try to take my daughter. And then the abuse part was fully hidden due to my second lawyer and the guardian ad litem allowing that to happen. Basically, his thought process is if he has my daughter, he doesn't have to pay no child support. He believes $100 a month per child is ample. He only paid $200 a month for 2 children, with his older ones. And basically, he could have done a lot more. And when I was with him, there was a long period of time I had him paying a lot more, because I knew what he was paying was a ridiculous amount. And it was so hard for me to hold that back. But I finally just told him, you need to give her more. And he did for a while. But anyway. Basically, he finally, after he couldn't get me to sign the home over to him, he got mad enough, I guess. He finally decided he was abandoning the home, the property. He dropped the insurance on the home. He had never paid taxes, not one time. I've always paid the taxes on the home. I as well get a discount because I'm disabled. And he's never paid any liabilities to the home. But he wants me out of the home. But, I have a child. I have more than one child. And one that he bastardized. And,